host of the Adventurous Joe Show, the Adventurous Joe himself, Joseph Michaels! Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's Adventurous Joe Show. I am your host, as always, the Adventurous Joe. Now, this week's episode, we've got a brand new comic book review of Jessica Jones, The Pulse, the complete collection trade paperback. We've also got our video game review of Murdered Soul Suspect for the PlayStation 3. Also, movie review of Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf's Fury. Wait till you hear my verdict on it. You're not going to believe this one. Also, a new segment to Season 4 known as Storytime with the Adventurous Joe. And anime review of Bleach, the complete series. I gotta tell you how I love this series both in Japanese and English. English dubbed. It was just beautifully well done. Also, our anime review. Getting ahead of myself here. And our cosplayer of the week, we'll tell you who she is when it's time. Now, let's get started. Coming up next. Alright people, it's time now for our comic book review of Jessica Jones, The Pulse, the complete collection trade paperback. This thing is marvelous. If you've never read the Pulse issues and stuff in general, this is for you to read, because it tells not only how Jessica Jones and Luke Cage are dating and then are expecting a baby and everything, but it also shows you in the end how they got married and how she was hesitant about marrying Luke Cage at first. You know, there's a lot in this story. I mean, take a look at this artwork. Look at this. The story practically unfolds on itself. The artwork changes from issue to issue. And there's where they're getting married. Now the cover price on this beauty is $40. But go on Amazon, you can get it for pretty cheap. It's actually on there for on sale around under $30, I think it is now. Around $25 or something like that. Either way, it's a great read. The storylines are great. If you've never heard the story before the Marvel Civil War took place and everything, between the heroes and the Registration Act and all that crap, this is for you to read. It's perfect. Right down to every detail. There's great action, great mystery. It's all about her trying to be not just the superhero, she's also trying to be an investigative reporter. She's trying to tell you things and show you things and all this other kind of stuff. She's trying to prove Spider-Man innocent of murder and so on and so forth. And it's neat how it all unfolds. It's beautiful, well done colored. I mean, the artwork, incredible. So, my final verdict on it, we're going with a slammin' 10 out of 10 for this one. I loved every story in it. I've never read the Jessica Jones ones and stuff. They are hard to come by now, and if you want all of them in one setting, here they are, including the wedding of Luke Cage and her. Like I said, perfect read, badass seal of approval I'm slamming on this one, and a slammin' 10 out of 10 is my final verdict. Pick it up, highly recommend you pick it up. Seriously, pick it up. You want to know everything before the Marvel Civil War? This is your chance right here. Okay, now, let's move on to our video game review of Murdered Soul Suspect, coming up next. Video game review of Murdered Soul Suspect for the PlayStation 3. Now, I rented this one from GameFly because I had to cancel my order for both the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. And since I didn't win it in any of the Rad Brad's so-called giveaway, yeah, that's something for a story for another time and place. Either way, I rented it from GameFly, just finished playing it and everything. It's great! I mean, this is very well done for a game that, you know, will keep you guessing on things. See, the game starts off like this. You're a cop named Ronan. You are investigating the Bell Killer murders. You're trying to find out who this guy is. Why is he killing these women off, and so on and so forth. Well, then there's a surprise twist in it. And I mean, there's a real big surprise twist in it towards the end. You find out just who the Bell Killer is, but it's not just one person. Ooh. Yep, there's your spoiler alert, people. Either way, let's check out that gameplay footage now. Now, as you can see, you can possess animals, you can possess people, find out information, anything in between. You can possess a cat, let alone that's about the only animal in it you can possess. I meant birds you can use as a distraction to distract demons and make them think, you know, there's something over there, and then execute demons. Execution of demons is beautiful. As long as you get the timing down right and everything, you can get the demon and execute it. You have to do a certain combination, like a left trigger down or left trigger up, and then square button, triangle button, so on and so forth. Either way, the gameplay in it is phenomenal. I mean, I loved playing this game. And trying to solve every other murder and stuff like that are a mystery to you. I mean, you're going around helping these spirits that are still stuck on Earth. And then you find out, you know, they're like little side missions. But you find out what happened to them, and so they can rest in peace easier and stuff. Like one woman, she threw herself off a cliff, okay? Because she figured her boyfriend was cheating on her fiance, excuse me. And then finds out she's sticking around and shit and thinking, oh, he got involved with this other woman and everything and cheated on me to begin with, like I thought he did. And then comes to find out, sorry, he never cheated on you. He's just with this woman now because he was looking for someone, you know, to share his grief with and stuff, to start his life over with. And it allows these spirits to move on. I mean, it's like a Ghost Whisperer. You know, she's going around talking to all these ghosts and stuff, trying to help them rest in peace, move on, move into the light, go to heaven or whatever. But there's a twist to this as well. Some spirits are not as good, okay? There are some bad spirits there and stuff. And they will tell you things like, there's one that was a mobster hitman or something. He was supposed to do nothing to this little girl or whatever. Apparently he did something, the mobsters didn't like it, and they killed him. So now his evil spirit hangs around in her closet, waiting for her to die, so he could torture her some more. It's just unbelievable how this game plays. Then there's Joy. Joy is a 15-year-old medium of sorts. She can see and hear ghosts. Literally, she can see and hear ghosts. Her mother is the same way. But Joy don't want this gift. She hates it. But she has to help Ronan solve the Bell Killer murders in order to find out what happened to her mother. Why did she disappear? Where did she go? So on and so forth. Everything leads up to an epic conclusion in the museum. I mean, it was beautiful how it all turned out. Great storyline. I loved every moment of this game. There were some frustrating times, like if you don't do the execution moments right and stuff. But I still loved playing this game. It was perfectly well done, and I enjoyed every moment of it. My final verdict for Murdered Soul Suspect, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I loved this game. I was not frustrated with it. I enjoyed hunting down the clues, trying to look around and learn different things. It was just incredible to play this game. And it was perfect in every way. It was great to go through. Enjoyed every moment of it. Final verdict, I'm slamming that big old badass seal of approval on it, because when you get to execute demons, it's kind of fun. You sneak up on them and just go, suck the living soul evil out of you, and boom, explode them. It's perfect. The game was fun to play. It's a very big mystery type game. If you're not into that kind of gameplay, don't play it. If you're into that kind of stuff where you enjoy this kind of detective things and stuff, go for it. I highly recommend you pick it up. If you have already played it and tried it out for yourselves, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of it. Either way, Murdered Soul Suspect for the PlayStation 3 is getting the T.A.J.S. Badass Seal of Approval, the biggest one I can find, and a 10 out of 10. We loved it. Perfect gameplay. Great storyline. And it always keeps you guessing on just who the Bell Killer murder is. Okay, now that that's out of the way, it's time to move on to our movie review of Fury. Coming up next. Of Fury, starring Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, and there was some other guy I remember from it, but I can't remember his name now. Either way, the whole movie takes place during World War II, and they're a tank crew of 5 men running this, and they stand up against an entire Nazi army that's about to invade Europe. The last stand between them was epic. The battles were incredible. I mean, I loved watching this film. It was just like, boom, hit that sucker, shoot this one, boom, boom, you know, hit this guy. It was just very well played out. Very well done as well. The movie itself, incredibly well done. It's telling a true story of basic facts, telling you about how this tank crew took on an entire Nazi army that was about to invade the last part of Europe to get in. And they were just phenomenal. Brad Pitt plays Commander Big Daddy. Seriously, his name is Commander Big Daddy. It was just funny as hell when I heard it. People were actually laughing in the audience too. It was funny to hear it when he says that. Oh, that guy over there, that's Commander Big Daddy. They're like, what the hell? I even laughed a little. I thought it was funny about how his name is Commander Big Daddy. Either way, the crew was phenomenal. Shia LaBeouf and them all did a fantastic job in this film, Brad Pitt included. That he brought a powerful performance to this, and, you know, making it believable that, you know, I'm scared too. If we're gonna go out, we're gonna die here, we're going out fighting and take as many of these sons of bitches we can with us and stuff. I loved it. It was perfectly well done. I couldn't believe how the action was in this. Hardly any real CGI effect to it and stuff. Because it said in the behind the scenes thing and stuff, they were doing a lot of work with real tanks and all that kind of stuff. But, hardly any CGI crap to it at all. However, the movie itself was a little long and drawn out for some people. Some people didn't really care for it. They were starting to get nodded off and shit. The one guy next to me, like 2 seats down from me, he kept going, ugh, ugh. You know, like he was gonna doze off and go to sleep. And I says, is it that boring? I mean, you're learning actual history here, World War II facts and stuff. You should be paying attention to this stuff. But, seriously, the movie itself was phenomenal. I loved every moment of it. However, it is a little too drawn out for some people's taste, and I was a little bored at first watching it and stuff, but I don't get easily enthused by things that don't entice me right away, you know? Either way, my final verdict on Fury, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. The movie was great. Big time historical facts in it. The real world kind of shit to it and everything else in between. But very long and drawn out. I mean, seriously, some of it is just like, come on, get on with it already. But at the same time, very well done. Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, and those other guys did a fantastic job as their counterparts in the film, and so on and so forth. Final verdict is an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend you check it out. And for the action stuff, I'll give it the badass seal of approval. Because I love how they were just using this tank to fight other tanks and just the Nazi army itself that was marching at them and shit. It was like 300 guys against a tank. Go figure, people. Either way, final verdict on this one for Brad Pitt and Shia LaBeouf's movie, Fury, is an 8 out of 10. Badass seal of approval, and highly recommend you check it out. Okay, now, let's move on to our new segment for the Adventurous Joe show we're introducing, called Story Time with the Adventurous Joe. Coming up. Alright people, it's time now for our new segment called Story Time with the Adventurous Joe. Now, I will be doing a separate video for this one, so your kids can enjoy it without me and my potty mouth self that you hear when I do my movie reviews and so on and so forth. It's a new segment, part of season 4 that I've been tooling with, working on new stuff to do, getting a bunch of kids' books and stuff like that. Things that I want to do that doesn't involve all that kind of blah 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 crap like I do, okay? Like I said, my potty mouth and me this will be from a separate into a separate video all itself, by itself, compared to the show itself. So, let's get started. First ever Adventures Story Time with the Adventurous Joe. Our first book, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie storybook. Let's get started. It was a glorious afternoon as the citizens of Angel Grove gathered for a citywide fundraiser and festival. The highlight of the day was a skydiving contest featuring skydiving teams from all around. The crowd cheered loudly as Rocky, Adam, Aisha, Billy, Kimberly, and Tommy, the team from Angel Grove High, landed right on target and took first prize for the day. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a group of construction workers uncovered a strange object. It was shaped like an enormous hand holding a giant egg. Smoke swirled around the object as it glowed with a strange purple light. Slowly, the workers approached the eerie object. One of them tried to touch it, but was thrown back by a bolt of energy. The remaining workers had seen enough and ran for cover. Up on the moon, the discovery of the object caught Lord Zed's attention. "I've been looking for that egg for 2,000 years, he said, as he waved his staff and teleported with Rita Repulsa, Goldar, and a creature named Mordant to the construction site. Once there, he used his staff to send a beam of magic into the egg, causing it to split down the center and open. Inside was gooey purple slime. "You waited 2,000 years for this tub of goo?" screamed Rita. Suddenly, the goo in the egg began to churn and boil. A column of goo began to rise from the egg and take the shape of a hideous purple man. The morphological being stepped out of the egg and introduced himself. "Ah, I I'm Ivan Ooze, and I'm back! Lord Zed quickly stepped up and... Ooze, I am Lord Zed, sworn enemy of Zordon of Eltar, and... Zordon! Interrupted Ooze. So he's still around, huh? Well, not for long. Meanwhile, at the Power Rangers Command Center, Zordon had become aware that the egg had been uncovered and called the Power Rangers to warn them of the dangers. 6,000 years ago, an evil sorcerer named Ivan Ooze was imprisoned in a hyperlock chamber under Angel Grove. The chamber has been uncovered. You must return it to the depths of the earth before Ooze can escape. We're on it, Zordon, replied Tommy, and the Power Rangers teleported away. By the time the Power Rangers arrived at the construction site, Ivan Ooze had turned against Rita and Lord Zed and trapped them in a tiny snow globe. He seemed to know Power Rangers were there before he even saw them. He muttered. It smells like teenagers. Not just any teenagers, shouted Tommy. We're the Power Rangers. So what? Am I supposed to be impressed? Sneered Ivan Ooze with a wave of his hand. And a dozen globs of ooze appeared on the ground and grew into fierce warriors. Ooze said, "Nice knowing you," and disappeared in a flash. Ooze's army then charged the Power Rangers. The battle was on. With great skill and valiant efforts, the Power Rangers fought hard against the gooey warriors, but they proved too strong and the teens had to pull back. Tommy shouted out the command, "It's morphin' time!" In a flash, the power of the morphing grid surrounded the teens and morphed them into their Power Ranger suits. Despite this, the warriors continued to attack. It was all the Power Rangers could do to keep from being defeated. Slowly, however, the tables started to turn, and the Power Rangers began to eliminate their opponents one by one. As the Power Rangers fought for their survival, Ivan Ooze slithered his way into the command center to confront his old nemesis, Zordon. Still hanging around, Zordon, mocked Ooze. It's time I pay you back for locking me up in that rotten egg. Zordon vowed, "You'll never get away with this, Ooze." Ooze just laughed. "I've got a news flash for you. I already have." With that, Ooze waved his wand and began to completely destroy the command center. Back at the construction site, the Power Rangers continued to battle Ivan Ooze's army. They discovered that if the warriors were hit hard enough, they could break apart into globs of purple ooze again. One by one, the Power Rangers kicked and slammed Ooze's men until they were all gone. But then something strange happened. The Power Rangers began to demorph. Before they knew it, all their powers left them, and they were back in normal clothing. "We'd better get to the command center and find out what's going on," said Tommy. Without power from the morphing grid, the teens had to make their way to the command center on foot. When they finally arrived, they found the command center in shambles. Alpha 5 was barely functioning, and Zordon was outside his time warp, in a heap of twisted glass and metal. "What happened here?" asked Tommy. Billy exclaimed, "Zordon's in trouble. Outside his time warp, he's aging at an accelerated rate. We've got to do something." Zordon spoke in a whisper. What you must do is find the great power of Phaedos and use it to defeat Ivan Ooze. It is your only hope. Alpha 5 explained. It's not a who, it's a where. Phaedos is a distant planet. You must travel there and find an ancient pyramid, the source of the great power. Hurry, Power Rangers. Zordon doesn't have much time. Right, said Tommy. Let's go, Power Rangers. Alpha pushed a series of buttons and sent the teens off in a colorful rainbow of light. Meanwhile, back in Angel Grove, Ivan Ooze continued to advance his plan to take over the world. Masquerading as a clown, he spread his gooey ooze all over town. The ooze had magical properties that turned all of the adults in town into mindless zombies, while causing the kids to go wild and misbehave. Ah, just like old times, laughed Ooze. The Power Rangers traveled across the cosmos and eventually landed on the beautiful but strange planet of Phaedos. There, they sought out Dulcia, the warrior princess, who once fought against Ivan Ooze with Zordon. She empowered the teens with the secrets of the ancient ninjetti and sent them through the jungle in search of the Temple of the Great Power. Back on Earth, Ivan Ooze had gathered all of the mindless adults and put them to work, making purple ooze and building a new robotic monster with which to terrorize the planet. The kids of Angel Grove, now fully under the magic spell of the purple ooze, were running wild through town, vandalizing their homes and shops and schools. Ooze was very pleased with himself. It's so good to be on top again. And this time, no Zordon or Power Rangers to stop me. Meanwhile, the Power Rangers had traveled through thick jungles and over steep mountains to find the Temple of the Great Power. In the center of the temple was a large pyramid. In the center of the pyramid was a large glowing shield with pictures of the ninjetti animal spirits: bear, wolf, crane, frog, ape, and falcon. These spirits were the sources of the great power. Now armed with their new powers, the Power Rangers were able to morph and teleport back to Earth to save Zordon and the world. When they arrived in Angel Grove, they could not believe their eyes. Destruction was everywhere. The streets were littered with broken glass and burning cars. Looks serious, guys, said Tommy. We'd better call up the Zords. The Power Rangers raised up their hands to call on their new powers. I call on the power of the Falcon, shouted Tommy. I call on the power of the Crane, cried Kimberly. Each Power Ranger followed, calling forth the ninjetti powers. Instantly, their new Zords appeared. With a great leap, the Power Rangers flew up in the air and landed inside each of their Zords. They came together to form the mighty Ninja Megazord, preparing for the battle to come. All right, Power Rangers, Tommy shouted. Let's kick some ooze. The Zord came alive with power. All systems were up and fully charged. Streaks of lightning swirled around the huge Zord as the great power of the ninjetti ran through the new vehicle's circuits with weapons ready. The Power Rangers guided their new Megazord into the heart of the destroyed city in search of Ivan Ooze. Suddenly, Billy remembered that soon a comet would soon be passing through the Earth's atmosphere. The Ninja Megazord lured Ivan Ooze into space for a final confrontation. Ooze was ready for them. He expanded his powers to gigantic proportions and attacked the Ninja Megazord, nearly defeating the Power Rangers. Ivan Ooze and the Megazord struggled with each other as the comet came closer and closer. Give it all we've got, Tommy ordered. If we don't beat him soon, we're all goners. The Power Rangers sent a power burst through the Zord, causing Ooze to break away and tumble out of control into the path of the comet. When Ooze and the comet collided, a great explosion lit up the skies over Angel Grove. With Ooze gone, the spell over the city and its citizens was broken. The Power Rangers used their newfound powers to restore Zordon to his time warp and to re-energize the command center. The citizens of Angel Grove declared a Power Rangers Day and held a huge celebration in their honor. The Power Rangers had once again saved the world from the forces of evil. The end. And that concludes this episode of the Story Time with the Adventurous Joe. Thanks for watching. Okay, people, now let's get on with our next part of the show. Anime reviews up next. The complete series. Unbelievable! I loved Bleach ever since I watched the very first episode and stuff. It was funny as hell how Ichigo and Rukia fight amongst themselves. They act like they're a married couple sometimes. I seriously say this because of the way he makes fun of her drawings when she's trying to explain things. She always draws everything with rabbit-like characters and stuff. It's too much. Orihime and Rangiku, way too much. I mean, seriously. They like the same kind of goofy food, weird tasting food, so on and so forth. All the characters in Bleach were beautiful and beautifully well drawn, well done. I mean, their character developments were great. You see Ichigo grow up from a 15-year-old boy to this superhero like Soul Reaper, substitute Soul Reaper, and so on and so forth. And it's incredible how you find out later on in the story that his own father was a Soul Reaper. His mother was an ordinary human. He fell in love with it, and so on and so forth. And the story just keeps developing over and over and over. By the time the series ends, Ichigo is 17 years old. So that tells me right there that the whole story takes place within over a freaking year. Seriously, almost over 2 years the story takes place. But it expanded years. The whole series expanded years. I mean, seriously, years. We're talking like 8 to 12 seasons or more. Unbelievable. The series was just unbelievable. I loved watching every moment of it. And there were some episodes where you just wanted to get in there and fight alongside of them, and there were some that were just so sad that you felt like you wanted to cry, and so on and so forth. It was just beautiful. The villains ranged from a rogue Soul Reaper to demons and hollows known as Arankar, and so on and so forth. It was just unbelievable. The show was never considered boring. And the one thing I found funny was the Power Rangers parody. Seriously. Cone has become pretty much my favorite character in Bleach, besides Ichigo and them. Cone is like this, he's a soul candy. But every time he gets put inside this stuffed animal, this little stuffed animal thing, or if Ichigo has to turn into a Soul Reaper, he puts the soul candy inside his own body and Cone becomes Ichigo. And he's like a pervert on wheels. Seriously, he has to look up girls' skirts all the time. He sees their big boobs and wants to squeeze them and all this kind of stuff. Cone is just unbelievable as the biggest pervert of the show. But he's also got a good heart. I mean, seriously. When it came to the one story arc that was taking place and everything, turned into like a different character altogether and stuff. That's what I meant about the character development for this series. It was just unbelievable how each character evolved. From, like, Odahime went from being this shy, innocent girl to a girl that can learn to fight now and stuff, using her own special abilities and stuff. Chad is another one. He turns out he's one of those full bringers. He's got full bring powers that allow him to make armor for his arms. At one point in the series, he actually dons a whole suit of full bring to become fully armored and take on this one Arankar. The series, like I said, is just unbelievable. It just keeps on going and going. And Uryu, that's another character. He's not even a Soul Reaper. He's an enemy of the Soul Reapers, but he becomes great friends with Ichigo and them. And learns to, you know, there's much more to this story than meets the eye. Every episode will keep you hanging on the edge of your seat and stuff. By time, like I said, by the time the series ends, Ichigo is 17 years old and, you know, about to graduate high school and all this stuff. It's an incredible series. It continues on through the manga. There's been rumors that Bleach may return as anime again, but no such thing yet as of yet. But they say the stories are still continuing on in the manga. So there's an idea right there that Bleach may yet return to become anime once again in a new series or something. Hopefully it's going to continue where it leaves off with the original Bleach and so on and so forth. Maybe jump it a few years later where they're more grown up and mature and stuff. But that's the thing about this series. It always will keep you guessing, not just like, oh, well, these characters are kind of dull and boring and so on and so forth. The one woman, she scares the holy hell out of me. I'm just like, seriously. She always has her eyes slanted, always closed and stuff like that. Like, oh yes, that's such a nice thing and stuff like that. But then the minute she opens her eyes when you disagree with her or something, it's just like, okay, I'm staring into the face of death. Seriously, the series was phenomenal. My final verdict for Bleach, the complete series, is a slamming 10 out of 10 and the badass seal of approval. I loved Bleach. I loved every episode. I watched all the episodes in English dub, and I watched all the episodes in the Japanese with the English subtitles. Each episode was beautifully well done. But it's funny too. I mean, there's some serious moments to it, and then there's the hilarious moments to it. Such as, like I said, Ichigo fighting with Rukia. She is the one that gives Ichigo his Soul Reaper powers. But it turns out Ichigo was part Soul Reaper to begin with. So it's just like, wow, what the hell? Either way, the whole series, phenomenal. Final verdict on it for Bleach, the complete anime series, is a 10 out of 10 and the biggest badass seal of approval I can slam on it. And highly recommend you check it out for yourselves. If you've seen the whole series yourselves, let us know what you think down in the comments below. Alright, now, on to our final part of the show, the Cosplayer of the Week segment. We'll tell you about this lovely young lady in just a moment. Cosplayer of the Week segment. This lovely young lady has been on both Heroes of Cosplay and circles all over Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Better known on there as Riddle's Messy Wardrobe. She does a phenomenal job on cosplays of all kinds. She's getting into the modeling thing a little more and more. And we've got some of her incredible work that we're going to show you now. And go from there. Check out her pics. And we'll see you for the ending part of the show because we have a special treat from Universal Studios. Enjoy! your cosplayer of the week, as demanded, it's Riddle's Messy Wardrobe. She's also our next inductee into the T.A.J.S. Cosplayers Hall of Fame for 2014, which will be showing a special thing like that at the end of this year's Adventurous Joe Show season. Also, we will be she's also an automatic member to the Cosplayer Force. It's a new page we're going to be starting on Facebook soon, and we've got the guy who designed both my t-shirt and the title for the show has done some incredible work on this. He's putting together something awesome for a cover photo for the Facebook page, and wait till you see it. I am impressed as hell as how he does all of this fantastic work. Either way, great job, Richard. Great job. He does fantastic work. You can check out some of his t-shirts and more and stuff like that on eBay. He does some incredible work. You just have to locate his shirts and let him know the Adventurous Joe Show sent you. Either way, that's it for our show for this week. I have been your host, as always, the Adventurous Joe, Joseph Michaels, and I leave you now with a special treat from Universal Studios, the Furious 7 trailer. God help me. Jason Statham playing a villain in this. Unbelievable! I love it. Just from the trailer, I am going to enjoy this. I enjoy all the Fast and Furious movies, but this is the one I will enjoy the most. Also, there's supposed to be a special tribute to Paul Walker at the end of it or something. According to Vin Diesel, he said that there's something special they did in mind for Paul Walker's in memory of Paul Walker. Either way, that's it for us here at the Adventurous Joe Show. I am your host, as always, the Adventurous Joe, Joseph Michaels. Peace out. May the Force be with you. And may the power protect you. We'll see you folks next week.
All right, let's get to work.
Hey, Roman, you freaking out?
No.
Yes, you are.
Can somebody just walk me through what we're supposed to be doing?
Justin, you didn't think it could get any better, huh?
Here we go. Come on.
Brian, you're up. I'm gonna get you out of here. You're gonna have to jump.
Dominic Toretto, you don't know me. You're about to.
Looks like the sins of London have followed us home.
Remember Owen Shaw? This is his big bad brother.
We're being hunted. One last ride.
Get low when the whistle goes.
Now we talking.
Daddy's gotta go to work.
This is a world that doesn't play by your rules. Like it or not, you and your friends are a part of it now.
I don't have friends. I got family.